Mama, it's me, Capri. My mommy is the best. Super Mom, love you much. She helps mommy get those smiles back, to get those back, and those back go back. You wait for the straw brush. Get ready for that super slippery, that super strong.
Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting episode of Healing for the Soul. I am your host, Robin Stoltman, where every week I feature different guests to help you become the best version of yourselves through different methods you may not have heard of or thought of. Today, I have my guest, Amanda, on the show talking about conscious parenting. So let's get started. Welcome, Amanda.
Hi, Robin. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Well, I appreciate you being here. So what is your specialty and who do you like to work with?
Well, my specialty is awareness. And what I mean by that is awakening to our conditioning that we've been brought up, lived by through our parents, their parents, and to get rid of generational narratives that no longer serve us, and actually being in the isness of this moment. We as human beings find it so hard to be in the present moment because we are addicted to the traumas of our past and we need to heal our inner wounded child, or we are projecting onto the future and worry, and we're missing the moment entirely of now.
I agree with everything you just said. I 100% do. I'm like, this is very, very good. That's why I was like, when I seen you for the podcast, I'm like, yes, I need her.
Yes.
I think all of us
we
do.
all need each other, but it's literally,
Yes.
I have been asleep for 50 years, and I'll say that not on purpose, but I just didn't have the awareness, and now I have the awareness. And I think following the pandemic, we are all realizing that you don't need to buy happiness outside yourself. Everything you want and have always desired is inside yourself, but we haven't been trained how to do that. And that's what I'm about, helping parents to become and heal their inner wounded child so that they don't project their wounds onto their children. We want to stop the transgenerational patterns now.
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree. Because yes, there is way too much being passed, and it's just like, stop, do it differently.
The patterns.
Yes.
Be aware of your patterns, because unfortunately we live so much in our doingness and our doing mode and go, get success. We don't stop, pause and think, okay, what patterns keep playing out in my life that I'm addicted to without realization? But my passion is children. But what I've realized, I've been a teacher for 30 years, and what I've realized is the children are fine. It's actually us as the parents that need the healing. And nobody's taught us to go inside, meet our inner wounded child and heal them. Because what we are, inner wounded children masquerading as adults. And until we heal our own wounds and know what they are, without attachment, without narrative, and with compassion and love, see them, bring to the forefront, heal ourselves. Self-care is important. Put yourself first, which goes against all my Catholic Irish upbringing. And then you are full to help other people.
That is true. Because that's like the number one thing since in my own self-healing journey as well, that I've just been, I got to put me first. I can't put the kids, I can't put my husband, I have to take care of me, because otherwise I don't take care of me, then everything else just falls apart.
Yes. But you can see the conditioning.
Totally not what we're conditioned to.
You're in charge of everybody else. And as women and as mothers, we really have bought into that story big time. And we're going to let go of that story. Your husband, your children to a degree, and yourself. Just look after yourself. Make time for yourself. I do it through meditating, through journaling, my podcast, writing books. And the rest just flows. But we are so addicted to controlling and being the best mum, and a good mum is, or whatever, ... You fill in the blanks. And that's just a story.
It is. It's all just one big story we tell ourselves.
Yeah. Time to give up the story, folks, and just be with your flow.
That is true. So then what is the Mood Munchers? Because I see all the little characters.
Yeah,
that you
so
have.
after I wrote my first book, which was I Choose Me, i.e. I put myself first, finally, people. I had got over my woe is me narrative that ran the show, which was shame and guilt and blame. And once I was clear of all that, this idea, because I thought before I was my thought and I was my emotion. And what I've come to realize is we have 70,000 thoughts a day and we don't need to be attached to them. That's our ego's job because we want to look good. And emotions are just emotions. They are not us. I avoided emotions like anger because I thought that was a loss of control. And actually just seeing emotions as they are, welcoming them in, naming them, acknowledging them, actually they just go through you and they can leave. But I had repressed them so much, I had so many repressed that I was terrified. That was it. There was terror for facing them because I thought they'd explode or I'd die or something like that, to see the dramatics. So the Mood Munchers are characters. There are 18 of them so far, and they are colourful, and I have created them. So I have 4 books for children, and I've just 2 weeks ago released one for parents, one for adults, and they're available on Amazon. But they are colourful characters that children interact with. I've used them in school. I've got puppets coming out very soon, or toys. And you can actually, so Blaze, the anger emotion, they've all got brilliant names. You say, I see you, Blaze. I feel you. You're welcome here. Because I had one child that used to hit himself and get very annoyed, very angry, couldn't contain himself. And of course, he was labelled wrong for expressing that in schools because we would like them to be,
True.
Suitably sit in the classroom and do what I ask you to do. And I believe that's wrong. And I taught him through using Blaze just to, you're feeling angry, and that's okay. Feel it. But it's Blaze visiting. And when he was having trouble with that, I said, well, then you're hitting yourself, hit Blaze. He went, I'd never do that. Why would I want to do that? And I said, but you're doing it to yourself. And then he saw the connection. And the next time I saw him in the playground getting angry, I just called him over. I said, right, let's take a moment, sit down. Who's coming to visit? He went, Blaze. I went, he is, isn't he? So let's just have a little chat with him, acknowledge, breathe through it. And within 2 minutes, he'd self-regulated. And that was such a powerful moment. So I think as parents and as adults, we've got some emotions that we like. They're acceptable by society. And we've got some like shame, guilt, anger, pride, some disgust, jealousy that we don't like. And we try to brush under the carpet and say to children, don't feel that. Don't want you looking like that. Be happy. But what we're doing in that message is saying feeling is wrong. And we are human beings and we're made to feel. But by just saying, I see you, I feel you, Blaze, or Gil, who is guilt, or Rue, who is shame, and judgment. Oh, that's a big one. That especially us as adults, we, look, judge. But it's given an avenue, a tool that they can see the emotions as being separate from them. They're just coming to a visit, a bit like a roommate. So sometimes if I can't deal with it, I say, go sit on the couch over there next to shame or guilt, and I'll deal with you later if the time isn't right. But if it is, I can accept it and breathe through it. And actually they do disappear really quickly. And we weren't taught this as children. And I just think this is key for our self-development, our self-worth, our self-trust, that we trust ourselves to accept emotions just as they are.
I agree. Because there's a lot of, especially like before the pandemic, it was all this busy work. Forget the kids and just let them be adults now rather than let them be kids.
Well,
that's the part that really upsets.
Yeah.
Huh?
We wiped away their childhood. We want them, grow up. But I'm 5, Mummy. No, but grow up. Do this, do that. And children are beautiful being in the present moment. They get absorbed in activity and they're present, they're connected, and they are joyous. And then we come along with our expectations that we want the house done, or we want this done, or we want dinner ready. And we say, stop it. And we were told that by our parents, and it's just learned behavior and patterns that I am now aware of. And it's sort of structuring our day that, your children know those breakfast, lunch and dinner times. And there's expectations, for safety and for hygiene, that we keep our rooms clean and tidy, and they have a responsibility. But we don't have to stop them being them. And we can re-meet. I went back and met my inner child 2 years ago, found her crying with her back to me in a heap. And I was quite nervous going towards her. And I did. And the next day she turned around, was looking at me. And now I say I have welcomed her in. I've embraced her with her innocence. I have forgiven myself for not recognizing her and blaming other people for not looking after her. And today, as the adult I am, still growing, I hold her hand and we go forward in life. And that's what, if we all did that, could you imagine what a powerful place the world would be?
It'd be, in my opinion, we would have world peace. I'm just saying. That's the only way to achieve world peace as a whole. It's not doing more. It's loving ourselves, healing that inner child. Because I agree with you. I've done the healing the inner child. And now I know all the little girl, all the Robin wants, the little Robin, all she wants was just to play with Barbie's dream house. Yes. And she's like, then I'll let you make money. I'm like, seriously, that's all I had to do?
Yeah.
So when I was in hypnosis, I'm like, okay, we'll play with Barbie's dream house a little bit. And then she's like, okay, now you can have money. I was like, so now, like, whenever I'm doing too much busy work, she stops me and she's like, no, we need to play Barbie's dream house again. So I'm like,
we need to
and I'm like, yeah, we do.
The foot off the gas pedal of the doing that we have been conditioned to do, because they tell us, have more, do more, then you'll be happy, then you'll be successful. And we're striving for this result. When we get it, it doesn't fill us up. And actually what I've learned is just to stop and be with yourself in silence. I do meditation, and I'll be honest, first time I did it, it was the most excruciating thing in the world for me, because I'd never stopped. I was the busy person doing for others, and I wasn't happy unless I was doing that. And actually ask yourself, when was the last time you ever just sat with yourself and, acknowledged your thoughts, just not as you, but just as passing by, and your emotions, and sat and felt and be. And it's uncomfortable, but growth is in the discomfort, I believe. And by doing that, and I've been doing it for 2 years now, I have come home to me, the true Amanda, not the outward one that I want to look good. I am a flawed human being, and I'm proud of it. And I just want to bring awareness that you can all heal yourself by just reparenting and being the parent you wanted to be to your inner child.
That is beautiful. It really is, because we really do need to learn how to reparent ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Be the parent that you wished you had. My parents, they're no longer with us, unfortunately, and they did the best they can in their knowledge. And they worked to put a roof over my head, food and clothing on the table, but they just weren't there for me emotionally. And I blamed them for it for years. And now I've stopped the blame. I've actually grown up and said, no, they did the best they can with the knowledge that was there. We're talking back in the 70s. But now with the awareness that we have and the gifts we have, it's time to stop the blame, look inward and find your answers within you, and trust the superhero that is inside of you.
Yeah, because otherwise it doesn't work.
No.
And I think, I got to thinking something recently is that a lot of things with society as a whole is that we are taught, like you said earlier, to look for everything else outside of ourselves to bring us happiness. But reality is we can have all this stuff, but it's not going to make us happy unless we find it within ourselves. It's the only way to really achieve true happiness. So when you created the Mood Munchers, who or what inspired you to create this? To create these Mood Munchers?
Child who was afraid to feel and was told, don't feel, stop it. Don't do that. And I had fear from some emotions, as I said earlier, but I wanted characters that children could cherish. There's one called Lockie, and I work with children who have difficulty in the classroom. And there was one little girl, and she just said, she wasn't saying anything. So I said, Should I tell you about when I was a little girl? I was terrified of getting told off if I got the answer wrong, so I didn't say anything, or I was worried I'd be judged. Is that how you're feeling? She nodded, and I said, oh, that's just lucky. You're locked inside yourself with this self-judgment and blame. And she's come to visit. And once you give a name, and it's not your name, it's, this character's coming to visit, who is an emotion. You can feel her, accept her, welcome them in. Don't leave them out on the doorstep. Welcome them in and let them be just as they are going to be, with no judgment. Then they will pass. And children love them, and parents who have worked with them with me have just said it's amazing. And then they've even seen the results. Oh my goodness, I didn't realize I had a fear of shame, or I had a deep attachment and addiction to guilt, and I kept going there. It's just an avenue that needs to be our feelings and emotions. We are human beings, and we, as in our beingness, we feel, and there's no need to be afraid of it anymore. Fear keeps us trapped, and we are built for connection, and connection through emotions. You can have a tantrum and a fit, that's fine. It won't last forever. But if you repress it and say that's wrong, you're telling your child there's a judgment straight away. You can't feel that. So the next time they see it or feel it, they're going to say, oh, I want to be, seen as being good. Push it down, push it down. But it comes out in your body. This is why we have a lot of illness in our bodies. It's actually listening to your body and seeing where the emotion is trapped in it. For me, it was in my stomach and in my chest, and just releasing it without the fear, without the judgment, without the narrative that we've been conditioned with.
I've dealt with that recently. There was, I don't remember the exact name. I think, it just came to me. It was disappointment. Like disappointment in not in myself necessarily, but I was feeling the disappointment that was, pushed onto me. And it's like, I feel it and I'm like, why do I have this? And I was like talking to myself more about that emotion. And I'm just like, okay, I can feel it just for a little bit. And then it's like, okay, it hurts too much. So I'm like,
So we avoid the pain. We numb it down with, substance abuse, drinking, overeating. We like to avoid pain, but pain is mandatory, but suffering is optional. But I was so addicted to my suffering of the emotions. And now, and I've done this, and with a lot of disappointment came up for me about 6 months ago, and I started crying. I thought, oh my God, I'm never going to stop. But linked with it was deep sorrow and grief. And I hadn't been allowed to sit in it. And it just came up. I could feel it in the body, and I just released it. And the lightness I felt was amazing. But I just repressed that because we don't like sad, don't like seeing sad faces, don't like seeing bad, or you're down in the dumps. Doesn't attractive. But by keeping it repressed, it shows up in our energy anyway. So isn't it better just to acknowledge it, let it go, and just be your truth, which is the child you were born to be?
Yeah, it's much better. And then, like what I eventually did with that disappointment was I'm like, okay, we'll let it be just a little bit, and then just like work on it slowly. Cause I'm like, apparently that emotion, it needs to be worked on slowly. It doesn't
go deep.
There
are layers.
Anger,
it's
that
not
can
just
go fast.
one layer that you peel off and go, oh, which I'll be really honest, on my self-growth journey, after a year, I got that one, dealt with that one. And then the situation, and it slapped me in the face again. I went, oh, this gets deep. So it's just layer by layer, and be kind to yourself. Be compassionate with yourself. Be forgiving with yourself. Be grateful for what you have. And even if you're listening to this podcast, what brought you here? Your awareness. You're ready to heal and let go.
True. I love that. I love it. That is true. Because, that's like one of my mentors, he's been trying, bless his heart, he's been trying so hard with me. And that's like, it just finally got like all this stuff that I've done. And he's just like, it finally hit me. And he's like, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Yeah, it's true. And also, because I've been on this other course called Relationship Intensive with Anna Garcia in England, And she says the same things, but you don't hear things until you're ready to heal them. Because it might be that the wound is really deep and it's too painful, and your ego and your primitive brain wants to protect you. That's the job of it. But I was so sick of my BS and the woe is me and the drama queen that I was living, and it was projecting onto my son, and I didn't want that for him. But there was nothing wrong with him. It was the work had to do with me. So that's what I invite your viewers to do is, what is the emotion that you don't want to feel? What is the pain that you are avoiding? Name it, accept it, allow it. And the Mood Munchers as books and tools are an amazing way of doing this.
They are, most definitely, because now I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to have to get some for my children, because I have one has sensory processing disorder and he's on the autism spectrum, and the other one has just found out that he had oppositional defiant disorder, which was caused from his brother having his issues, because he's just poking everybody. But it's like, it made me stop and think, okay, if I shift my energy, I'm just a happy mommy, and I've told them I'm working on me. And I've just let them know that I'm doing stuff so I don't yell so much, so I can breathe. And I'm like, just breathe, do these different things. And I have seen a shift in them. So like, we're talking about the Mood Munchers. I'm like, I'm definitely like, I'm going to get some for my kids, because I'm like, I believe that it's simple enough. But then you can apply it to adults. That's what I like, is it's simple.
No, absolutely. But you see, as adults, we don't want to admit that we've got wounds of inner child within us. And that's the first step, realizing, I'm not happy. I've got the house, I've got the husband, I've got the children, I've got the job, but I'm still feeling empty. And then think, right, it's the emotion that you've been repressing or avoiding or distracting yourself in the doing mode. And whether you say you're buying them for the children, that's a good way in. True. But with me, it's allowed me, because I had a big problem with shame, who was Rue, and Gil, who's guilt. And I didn't like feeling, but I was living my life that way without realizing it. And actually naming them and playing with them and talking about them. You'd taken them out of the closet or brushed under the carpet, that they were in my day, and you weren't allowed to express yourself, because we all want to be seen and heard. And having emotions is part of that. And there's no getting away from that.
No, there isn't. And I was thinking about that. I'm like, you're right. The one for me is the shame, because yesterday when I went to McDonald's, I'm like, I really didn't want to go because I thought the food I had was good enough.
Yes.
And it's like, well, that was shame, because I'm like, just that not feeling good enough, that is shame. Yeah. So and then when I'm like, I took it as it was because of the money, and it's like, no, separate the two. I had to stop and think about it.
You'll have a story on top of the emotion, because shame is right down, just one up of death, believe it or not. And shame is about the self, and guilt is about the situation or the other person. But I realized I was swimming in shame without even realizing it, and it was showing up as blaming other people, because I didn't want to take responsibility. So take responsibility for yourself, your emotions, your thoughts, and how you show up every day. And this is a tool that schools, parents, anybody who really wants something to get their hands on, to understand, and to be able to open up communication, that all emotions are okay. But we've just created narratives that we are now ready to let go, and let go of our patterns, the way of being.
Yeah. And that's a very helpful and good, to shed those emotions that they don't really serve us. They did at one time.
Yes. Or we were told to stop, not feel them.
Yes.
But who has the right to tell anybody not to feel? You would never say to your child, stop being angry. Now, you might say, yes, I see you're angry. I feel you're angry. And that being angry is okay. It's not okay to hit or bite, because that's a boundary. But it's okay you're feeling frustrated and you're feeling annoyed. Yes. Tell me more. That's beautiful. And to say to little children, that Blaze has come to visit, what's he saying? What's he doing? How's he showing up in your body? It gives them a way to communicate what is happening physically to themselves in their mind without being attached and going, oh, I'm wrong, or I shouldn't feel that, or you won't love me if I'm angry, or you won't love me if I'm feeling this way. No, this is the time to stop all stories about emotions not being right or wrong. There is no right or wrong. There is no good or bad. There is just what you are feeling, and it is okay.
100%. So you've given a lot of different tips, a lot of different ways to help use the mood munchers. So do you have any of the 5 tips that parents can help better self-regulate their own emotions?
Yes.
Like you've got the mood munchers.
Yes. The biggest tip is, do you want to heal? Know that you are ready to do it, because it's a journey, and it's your journey, and your journey is unique to you. And forget what your friends are doing, forget what your family are doing. Think, I am ready to come home to me. That's the first tip. The second one is awareness of your thoughts as they come out. Now, I'm a bit poetical, so I see my mind as a blue sky, and yes, sometimes get very cloudy as the clouds come in, and the clouds are just your thoughts coming by. Oh, look, there it goes again. Oh, there's another one. Oh, there's another one. Or, like trains coming in and out station. But it's just a thought. If you grab onto the thought, it can snowball, and then anxiety takes over and things like this. But be aware of your thoughts. They're just thoughts. Be aware of your emotions as they rise and allow them. Take time out of your schedule doing this, just to sit and be with yourself. There are apps like Calm, Headspace that you can do for 5 minutes. They're guided, and that's how I started off. I can now sit for a long time and just be with my breathing. The best way to self-regulate, especially if you're feeling anxious or angry, is to literally say to yourself, freeze or pause or hold. I say hold myself, and then take 3 deep breaths and let them go. There's belly breathing, where you can, if you like the physical thing, put your hand on your belly and breathe in and out like you're blowing up a balloon. With children, because I'm starting mindfulness in school, I put my hand on my chest to feel your heart beating, and I get them to breathe in and out and see how many breaths they can do in a minute. And then after a little while, see if it's raised or lowered. Whatever you're feeling and being is fine. But breathing techniques, realizing that you are perfect just as you are, and you don't have to change to be anybody else. That is the biggest tip. Know your worth. Have self-value. I used to seek validation. That's how I got my worth. And it was a big shock to me to realize that other people's opinions were more important than I had no opinion of myself. So the best phrase I ever heard, which I didn't say easily, was thank you, but what you think of me is none of my business. And it took me a long time to get comfortable with that phrase, because I was saying, well, it is my business because what you think of me is everything. And that's when it hit me like a cold wet fish. Oh my God, I've got no opinion of myself. I have no value, no love, no trust in myself. So come back to yourself with the trust. You know what you need inside. You just haven't been taught. So 5 minutes meditation. Another little tip that I do is journaling, and what I call it is vomit journaling. So, if you've been at work or the children have got, at you, and you just want to go, rah, or you just want to say to your partner or friend, oh, do you know what? Rah, 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 and you just spiel, and they're like, oh my gosh, what she's on. Each night I vomit journal. So if there's somebody that's triggered me, and it's just a situation outside me, but it's the inner wounded child that's been triggered inside me, and I write it out. I felt this, that, and I was ashamed, and whatever. And you just write it. You don't go back and read it. You can even burn it. But you're purging all your judgment and all your angst out so that you can be free just to be who you truly are.
I like all those tips. They're extremely helpful. So I really appreciate it. All the noise that I've got going on at the office.
That's life. Yes, she's got
Yes.
work going on outside her office, people, but that's how live we are today.
True.
And it's okay. It's perfectly fine.
That is true. So again, Amanda, what is the best way for everybody to contact you with the time zone?
So I am based in London, UK. The best way you can find my podcasts, my books on my website, which is www.amandahyryall.com. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn most days. So let's connect, because as I said before, we're born for connection. Let's give up our stories, let go of the conditioning, and come out of the box that society put us on to be truly you and come home to you.
Awesome. That is absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, Amanda. I really appreciate your time and your energy.
No, thank you, Robin. And well done for what you're doing, because you made a decision to show up with your beautiful energy and provide this. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
I appreciate it. You have a good day, and I'll talk, and everybody will have another exciting episode coming up soon.
Yes, much love.
That's all for now, folks. Thanks for listening to Playful for Fun. Tap that follow button, subscribe, quack, quack. Bye-bye. Wow, next time. Now we got it.